We'll go through number 7 here. First responder and military member survivor benefits, public colleges and universities. So this grants mandatory payments of death benefits and waiver of certain educational expenses to qualifying survivors of certain first responders and military members who die performing official duties. Requires supermajority votes by university trustees and state university system board of governors to raise or impose all legislatively authorized fees if law requires approval by those bodies. It also establishes existing state college system as constitutional entity, provides governance structure. So
again, it gets a little, the further in you get, the little more mumbo jumbo-y.
It's like, okay, first responder and military members, because who's going to vote against that?
Right.
And then also, let's consolidate the school board into.
So it is, I think this one is really one where it's trying to combine something that I think everybody will go for with something that's much more controversial. So yes, providing survivor benefits, which is not, it's kind of, it's the way it's supposed to work, but the system is not functioning perfectly. So this would presumably fix that so that if you're the spouse of a service member or a public safety worker in Florida who dies, that you get the survivor benefits you're supposed to get. That's like, who's going to object to that? Probably pretty much nobody. But then they get, and then even the second part requires supermajority votes by the university boards to increase fees.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of like the supermajority
Seems
for
good,
taxes,
yeah.
right? Seems not that unreasonable. And then there's part 3, which is the way the university system in Florida is structured right now is locked into the Constitution forever.
Yeah.
So when technology...
Well, not only that, but then it gets one governing body. So it's essentially saying, like,
it's all
one
unified,
body,
yeah.
all the state colleges, anything that's state funded is going to be under one umbrella with one governing board. And locally, there will be some level of some board, right? There still have some level of whatever the trustees, or I don't know what they call it at the lower level. But yeah, but then to ingrain essentially that system of education in the Constitution.
You know, do people think there's maybe some technology change going on in education? Do you think they'll be teaching classes the same way 10 years from now as they do now, let alone 20 or 30? And yet we're going to put in the Constitution that you can't change our university system. I mean, that is such a strong measure to take that I actually think, you know, that this is a bad amendment. And I think the legislature will if people vote no on this, I bet the legislature will do the survivor benefits through law. That doesn't need to be in the Constitution either. All they need to do is pass a law to fix that.
Yeah, and that seems like it's just a matter of function, because it seems like if you have a survivor benefit and you don't pay it to the survivors, well, that's just silly.
Yeah, that's right.
It does also extend who is labeled as first responders. It extends to EMT
some of that,
and some of the other. So it's a little bit broader into.
But it matches more what I think people think. I mean, the guy, just because someone, when an ambulance arrives, whether they're an EMT, a paramedic, or a firefighter, it doesn't make sense to the average person, I think, that they should have radically different benefit packages, right? If they all work in emergency response to come get you when you're in a car accident, it makes sense.
Here's just from the Tampa Bay Times. This is another amendment that jumbles together the 3 issues. The fee issue is the major stumbling block here, as universities are already strapped for cash, which I disagree.
Yeah.
The university may be strapped for cash, but they've been increasing their prices like no other business or
and the
enterprise.
legislature's been increasing their funding.
Yeah, this idea that that they're having a hard time, like maybe they need to find other places to cut. I don't know. This is one where I think you got to dive into. How do you feel about locking in a state education system? How do you feel about I think capping their ability to, again, require a supermajority to increase fees seems reasonable. Obviously, the survivor benefit seems like something that is a no-brainer we should do. But again,
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people arguing that no matter how much you like any of the pieces of the bundled ones, you should vote no. Because we can always, if we want them bad enough, all we have to do is sign the petitions and get them on the ballot as a single thing. This isn't our only chance to solve these problems.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I think, and unfortunately, that's going to pass, right? Like it's like a 80%. I was looking at some
Yeah,
of the.
I think
it's
so,
like a
yeah.
80+%.
Because everybody's voting based on the survivor benefits, and they can't even understand what they're saying about the colleges. So they're just like, yeah, whatever. On the colleges, it sounds okay. But I think we're going to wind up regretting having that in our Constitution.
Yeah.